Hello everybody, Ben Rogers here, the Raptors Digest, reacting to this Toronto Raptors game versus the Indiana Pacers. It's currently 8-6 on my stream. My stream actually just froze as we started off. Riker, how does it feel? I've done one of these before. This is your first live game reaction. You excited, sir, for a maybe 2-hour-long podcast?
Probably more, Ben. These games are 2.5 hours long. I'm nervous. This is our first play-by-play. We could make it. This could be our big break onto the scenes, Ben. This could be our official video submission to become the new sideline announcers, Ben.
You know, it's exciting stuff. Pacers just had a little dunk. This pod will be filled with actual reactions, some wild chats, but it's the last game of the season, so we're just excited to watch the game with a few people as people come in. 9 viewers currently. We're obviously at a much different time than we usually go live, but shout out Prab and Gregory. Buys are in the chat. Riker, what's your prediction for this game?
Well, this is an interesting game because the Raptors could actually afford to win this one if they were so inclined. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you're making a push to get to as far to the bottom, which would be that 12th seed as you could. Now the pressure's off. They're a lock. The best chance that they're going to have at securing that first overall draft pick, is only 7.5%. It won't be better. It won't be worse by winning or losing this game. So why not try to finish with a W? Make it a bit of a sour end of the season for the Indiana Pacers. I'm hoping that the Raptors can secure this win despite OG, Fred, Lowry, Siakam, Boucher, Gary Trent Jr. all being out of this one. I'm surprised none of them wanted to play out the final game of the season, Ben.
Well, that's my big take. That's my big takeaway from this one. My biggest disappointment, my Damari Carroll Gold Star Award. It's because Kyle Lowry, we didn't know it was his last game. Was it against the Lakers? Was that his final appearance in a Toronto Raptors uniform this season? Potentially ever? Right? That's anticlimactic. We wanted our emotional goodbye to Lowry. Instead, we did get an amazing performance against the Lakers, but, you know, it is what it is. I was hoping, as you mentioned, we'd go all out for a big W in this game, but unfortunately, well, maybe we still will. Stanley Johnson's been a monster. Bembry's been throwing some dimes. I'm not sure if Jalen Harris is in the lineup, but he should be starting if he was.
He better be in the lineup, yeah.
Yeah, he didn't get the start tonight because Bembry started. I don't know who we're gonna play, but Aziz Rahman is asking, does this game change our odds in the lottery? It does not. So go out and win this game. Get a W. No need for kazoos in this one. You know, it's apparently they're all injured. That's
well, they have to say that they're injured or else they'll get fined again. So any kind of tweak, soreness, anything, that's enough to get the medical team to write up a doctor's note, if you may, and get them legally or within the permissions of the NBA to sit this one off. Again, anticlimactic, but there's always excitement. There's always something strange that happens with the Raptors team, even when it looks like a desperate blowout. There's always some notable storyline that happens. So we'll actually get to see that one live tonight, Ben.
Yeah, and apparently, what?
This afternoon.
This afternoon. Whatever it is currently. But apparently Jalen Harris is out with foot issues, and he was questioned because he's from the Dallas area, he's from Texas, so his family and all that were ready for him to have that big performance on Friday night. And fortunately, he was able to play and absolutely went off against the Dallas Mavericks. But I guess he's out tonight. The team wanted him to rest. I don't know why we are sitting all these guys. Do we have 6 players on the team? Because we only ran 7 players in the previous game.
That's a good question. So who would the only guy off the bench be tonight?
Baines?
Utah? Baines.
Because I know Utah was hurt, so...
Is Utah out tonight? Oh, man.
That's a...
But this would be a classic one for the Indiana Pacers to lose, to just absolutely destroy their momentum heading into the play-in tournament, I believe. I think that they're sitting somewhere. I think they might be 9th even.
Are they?
I'm going to pull up the standings right now.
Yep. Yeah, I'm watching.
Their team is too good to be 9th. But that's it.
Sabonis, Brogdon, they've dealt with injuries. Levert's been back. You know, Brissett.
And they're worse than the Wizards.
Really? The Wizards are not?
Yeah. Yep.
Jeez, the Wizards, they could be a scary team first round of the playoffs.
man. The Wizards are 2-9 in their division, but they have the same record as Indiana, and I guess that they've won the split. They must have won the season series against Indiana, because right now they're sitting at that 9th seed. As if it, well, actually it does matter, because 9 and 10 play in the play-in tournament.
Yep.
The higher seeded team only needs to win 1. The lower seeded team needs to win 2. So that'd be Indiana right now.
Yep.
And I don't know. I don't know. Russell Westbrook in the playoffs might be another animal altogether, Ben.
Yeah, especially with this Washington Wizards team with Bradley Beal on the squad. Obviously, the thing about the Wizards, their defense is absolute trash. But if they could get hot, if they can get their guys playing, shooting their threes, Davis Bertans come off the bench, and he's had a really bad season this year. If they can get all those guys cooking, Riker, I don't know. You think they upset the Nets in the first round?
The NBA's best ever offensive rated team versus one of the NBA's probable worst defensive teams in history, with Alex Len as their starting center, Davis Bertans. Oh, that would just be insane. But that's it. I'd be curious to watch a Wizards game, because I haven't except for the couple games that they've played against the Toronto Raptors.
Yep.
Who is Russell Westbrook assisting to when he puts up 17 assists in a game? Who are those assists to? Because I look at the box score. Yeah, it must be, because it's only him and Beal scoring.
Yeah, Westbrook, he's putting up those numbers. Do you think this is something I want to throw out to you. Do you think we should have kept Len and sent away Baines, or do we make the right decision with that?
That's a tough one. But again, he didn't fit within, neither of them fit within the Raptors system, and trying to play small, trying to play quick, shooting a lot of threes. They don't fit that mold, right? Because they just congest the lane. They're not really able to stretch the floor effectively. They can't get up and down that quickly. So this wasn't the team for them. And I think that was proven with being in a different system. Alex Len was able to thrive, and obviously we cut him over Baines. So him being worse, but obviously performing much better after he had a sort of a change of organization. So
for sure.
Not the wrong move. It's just the wrong team for both of those gentlemen.
No, most definitely. Got the Raps down 19-15. Stanley Johnson just clanked it off the side of the backboard. You love to see
Where
it.
are you at right now? I want to get my street, or I'm watching on
Gillespie,
TV.
Gillespie shooting a free throw, and my stream just
They haven't gone to commercial break yet?
No.
Okay.
My,
let me know when Karis LeVert is chatting with it. No, let me know. Oh, Gillespie is shooting a free throw right now.
Yep. You got that
He
all
just missed
lined
the
up.
first one.
Yep, just missed the first one.
Is he shooting a second one right now?
He's about to. My streams, I might have to switch the stream next commercial break, because it keeps pausing, it keeps lagging. But let's see what the chat has to say. We got 40 people in here. Quality stuff, different time for a usual Raptors Digest live stream. But Metasolar's asking, how soon are the Raptors going to leave Tampa? And I heard something that fans or they're not going to open up Toronto, not going to open up the Ontario area until about 70% of people are vaccinated. So I don't know if that means one vaccine, 2 vaccines. You're an Ontario resident, Riker.
Well, here's the thing.
What's
Nick
the
Nurse
deal?
said yesterday that there's no immediate plan for the Raptors to leave Tampa, which is dejecting news. Obviously, this team and this location, they haven't had that sort of good symbiotic relationship that we were hoping. We sort of thought that maybe being in a state that had some passionate individuals, I don't know how it manifests itself, obviously, as fans, but at least they're kind of manic people, so that could have been a good thing. And then obviously having good temperature, good temperate weather, it could have been a fun environment for the guys to train, sort of have that break and then still be competitive. It didn't play out that way, so we're hoping that we can go back to Canada, back above the border, and have real fans and back closer to their families. But Ben, you're right. With the way the vaccine deployment's been going, I don't see things being ready by October.
That's going to be tough. Obviously, it's going to be. I don't want to see the Raptors in Tampa again next season, but probably looking at it realistically, it's the route that's going to happen. The Raptors up 2019. I'm gonna switch the stream as we go along here, because this is not a good look. I'm gonna switch to buff streams, because that's the cloud. Oh, we got the conspiracy. Oh, no.
Shout out Andrew Sherry's in Ireland right now. in Ireland watching the Raptors and our live stream. Shout out to you. He says it's half past 6. So I don't know if he means AM. That's intense if you're up at 6:30 AM on a Sunday just to tune in.
It'd be later. It'd be later.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right, because England, I have a good friend. Shout out to Emma. She and I, text buddies. She's like 5.5 hours ahead, I think, or something like that. And then Fanfiction Pop-Tart. That's quite the name. Personally, don't think it's going to happen, i.e. the Raptors going back to Canada, back to Toronto, until the second half of next season.
That's fair.
That sounds all right. That sounds all right to me.
Sucks,
and I'd rather get half a season than none of the season, though. Playing a second season out in Tampa would just be terrible, because we're expecting that the Raptors are a playoff team next year. If not, a middle of the pack potential dark horse contender. My dog's going crazy. I'm going to let you take it off.
Almost going wild. Just got the fresh cut Riker's dog, so might have to get him featured on the podcast. But yeah, no, that's shout out from Ireland. Newfoundland's kind of similar to Ireland, but you know, I agree with the take there. That's probably going to happen at the second half of the season, but ideally in a dream world, we make it happen right at the start. People get vaccinated, and then hopefully the transmission rates go down. Even if we have limited fans, it'll be cool. Aziz Rahman's asking if we got vaccinated. I don't have one yet. I'm waiting to get signed up.
We can soon.
Yeah, we can soon. So I'm gonna be jumping at the bit to get that. Be able to travel a little bit again. Hopefully get these 2-week isolation things from Newfoundland shut down or gone as soon as possible, so I can freely move
at the same time
in and out of the island.
If you have the stream open and they just flashed a Tampa Bay Raptors jersey, there was like 2 fans that are cheering, and there's a Tampa Raptors jersey behind them. Do you see it?
No, I don't see the jersey.
Okay, well it's like a blue. It's like the same color blue, and then they have the Raptor. It's the classic Raptors logo, but he's pink and he's wearing like a Hawaiian shirt.
Oh, I've seen that logo. Clean. I've seen that logo. Yeah.
That's pretty clean. But anyways, back to what you were saying. I think it's a bit early to say that once you get vaccinated, you're going to be able to start traveling.
But
you just mean back in Montreal,
process, or? You know, it speeds up the process.
Maybe. I don't know. All the cases are travel related. I don't understand how it went so quickly from there's a shortage of vaccines to now they're opening it up and everybody and their mother can get vaccinated. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
I think it does help, and I'm obviously wishing for as fast as possible.
Sam Given saying it's 5 a.m. on a Monday to watch the game in New Zealand. Well, that's commitment if you're watching these games at 5 a.m., especially these streams, so we appreciate it.
Wow.
Gotta get that final game of the year a little watch, so shout out Sam there in the chat. But yeah, people are...
What do you think, Sam, so far? Are the Raptors going to take this one? Leave it out to everybody in the comment section too. It's pretty competitive through one. We see some good ball movement. We see Freddie Gillespie. They're looking for him down low. Obviously, Sabonis is not the biggest, most intimidating presence in the paint, so it would be nice to get our bigs going. And I see a super chat come in, Ben.
Super chat from Niche Seth, legend of the super chat, saying Nurse is so committed to the tank that he won't start Harris Law. Barely played him the last few minutes of last game, and that's definitely fair. I think Harris is out with an injury. He wanted to play very bad in the last one. The team didn't want him to play, but you know, it's the Raptors. They're making a little run. O'Shea Brissett has something to say about this team, probably cutting him and doing these things, but he hit a 3, I believe. My stream's a little bit smaller, but I don't know. The Raptors, I'm confident we'll get this W. I'm confident. Appreciate the super chat there, but...
Oh! Baines shooting corner threes and making them.
Man, all I have to say is Aaron Baines is playing for that contract next season. He's coming out.
He's not getting it. He's playing for it, but he's not getting it.
Not from us. He'll get it somewhere.
Sorry to whoever said was in New Zealand. I don't know if you have particular ties to Aaron Baines, but... Oh, you saw it. Okay, so you're a bit ahead of me.
No, that just happened. Right? That just happened. I missed the...
You just saw him hit a 3?
Yep.
O'Shea Brissett?
Yep.
Okay, so we're on the same page.
Yeah,
right?
137. We just break the layup.
Okay, yeah.
We rocking.
Classic
We rocking
Stanley
this
Johnson.
out. But, Niche Seth back with another super chat saying, well, egg on my face then. You know, we didn't know either when we started off this pod. We're trusting the chat. But definitely a fair take that Nick Nurse is. The team does not want to win if we're not playing all of those guys that are currently hurt or not hurt. I don't even know. Sam's saying he's not a big fan of Baines. Doesn't like Baines. Have you checked our Instagram DMs recently, Riker?
No, I haven't checked the Instagram DMs in a couple of months, to be honest with you. I know they're typically pretty active. I think Josh still checks in on them. Josh of the Leafs Digest. So if anybody's interested in, I believe the NHL playoffs started yesterday. So
really?
Yeah. And I don't know when the Toronto Maple Leafs start to play, but that could be an exciting thing to tune into.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually gonna be watching the NBA playoffs a little bit closer than I expected. I thought with the Raptors being out, it wouldn't be that exciting. This is all Aaron Baines another 3. Jeez.
This guy is balling. This guy is balling out here. Gotta get these animations rocking.
His shot form is like the worst of Jonas Valanciunas' shot form, and I don't know who else you could add. Who else pushes their shot rather than flicks it, but it is what
Bismack
it is.
Biyombo.
Did he have a
mix of JV and Bismack Biyombo? That's Aaron Baines' shot form, but yeah. No, shout out Aaron Baines. I hope he gets a little contract coming up next season. But
yeah. But my point being, there's a lot of Canadians, a lot of ex-Toronto Raptors just of this very season that are going to be playing in the playoffs. It'll be exciting to watch. I think there's going to be some good storylines, some good narratives. The play-in tournament should be open. My fingers are crossed that Portland can beat Denver because I really want to see LeBron versus Curry in a play-in situation, which I just think is the most hilarious thing. That they played 4 championship series in a row, and then now eventually they're playing in a play-in tournament just to get the 8th seed is just the funniest thing. And
could you see a scenario where they play in the play-in tournament and both of those teams make the Western Conference Finals? I could see it.
That would be insane.
I could see it because obviously
the Warriors
Lakers
don't have the capacity to make a deep playoff push, though.
Hear me out, though. You agree the Lakers definitely conference finals, definitely possibility.
Oh, easy. The Lakers could go to the final.
Yeah, exactly. Right, even with all the injuries, LeBron, AD, and that sort of stuff.
And Drummond.
Yeah, Drummond's okay, but LeBron, AD, that's a squad. Dennis Schroeder, all those boys. But the Warriors, Andrew Wiggins has been on an absolute tear as of late. We know what Draymond Green ends up doing in the playoffs. We saw it in the NBA Finals. Once he just elevates his game to the next level. They can get Bazemore, Poole, the Osco Anderson guy. All those guys have sort of been stepping up lately, and they've been doing a really good job. There's questions about whether or not they'd make the play-in for a while, and obviously they've taken their team to a whole nother level. And I don't know, Steph Curry in the playoffs, they have to go through the Suns, which it's Chris Paul, Devin Booker, Ayton, I get it, but they're an unproven team likely. Or even the Jazz. The Warriors sort of have... I feel the Warriors' aura could really just outshine these teams, sort of get them phased and get them out of their rhythm. And if Steph Curry can knock down those threes for 4 out of 7 games, I could see it happening. That would be an interesting situation.
Well, that's interesting that you talk about Andrew Wiggins' performance as of the end of the season, but he's not much of a decorated playoff performer. He's only been in 1 playoff series in his entire career. They were 5 and out. I think it was against Houston, and it was 2017-2018, and that was probably the season that Houston lost in Game 7 in the semifinals against Golden State, where they bricked 27 straight threes. They could have won that game. Chris Paul was obviously out injured. It would have been a whole different the NBA landscape would be different if James Harden had to have won a championship. The Warriors' legacy wouldn't have been as dominant as what it is today. James Harden might not have gone to the Brooklyn Nets, which seemed to be the shoe-in to win the championship this season. But Andrew Wiggins himself, he averaged 15 points, 44% from the field, 33% from the 3. That's not a terrible stat line, especially considering how garbage his Minnesota team was. But they had Jimmy Butler. They had Karl Anthony Towns, right? They had guys around them. I wouldn't say that the Golden State Warriors are magnitudes better. Obviously, Curry is magnitudes better than Jimmy Butler, but I don't know. I don't really trust that Andrew Wiggins has anything to provide in the playoffs. That's very critical, but he's not tested yet.
People were questioning if he had anything to provide in general. and he's been good lately. So,
And people still say that he doesn't. Like people aren't watching very closely to his game. It is pretty sweet.
yep,
This year.
for sure. But Riker, so are we just running a 6-man rotation this game? I haven't peeped the box score just yet. Just from eyeballing it, I think we're playing 6 guys.
I know that's hard because Ben and I were just playing basketball. It's Friday evening, 1 hour scrimmage run. We only had 11 bodies, so we just had 1 sub for both teams. And my heart and lungs were dead. Ben sprinted past me at one point, and I said, "I know this is the end of me." So,
hey, you're there in the gym. I'm just getting my cardio in, Riker. I'm preparing for this one-on-one battle. Sneaky, slippery. But yeah, it's good. This is literally a grindhouse scrim for the Toronto Raptors here tonight. Rocking out. People are talking about Toscano Anderson. Bringing in
Srivastava.
Jonas
Srivastava.
Vasilino.
Play that segment.
Oh yeah, I got it played.
Yash Srivastava says, I have a feeling the Raptors are getting a Charlotte Hornets type draft pick. And then he followed up and said top 3. But I wonder what he means by a Charlotte Hornet type. Does he mean by the selection?
A tall, white power forward that we're going to draft that does nothing
that would
in the
work
NBA?
so much with what I'm saying that the Raptors are going to get. I got to search up his name again. I got to commit it to memory. He is I'll find it. I'm trying to remember it off the top of my head, but I can't.
Predator Kingdoms bring up Josh Giddey, 6'8" point guard.
Oh my god.
Be interesting if we drafted
Charlotte
a point guard.
It would be unnecessary, but Corey Kispert, Gonzaga, 6'7", white power forward. That is who I've said multiple
6'7".
times.
What? Okay, he might be good. I know nothing about the draft. Again, our research for the draft is coming out soon, so
yep.
It's just unknown takes. Let me know in the chat. Josh Giddey is the guy people want to see on the Raptors. That's been the consensus in the chat. But do you know anything about Josh Giddey?
What? No, I don't. Let's withhold our draft knowledge because we're really only familiar right now with 1 through 4. We got to go back, watch tapes, read the scouting reports of a lot of these guys. Ben, what would you say? Do we really only need to scout 1 through 12 and I guess 1 through 15 in case there's some sleeper picks? Is it locked in that the Raptors will at least get a top 12 pick given their 7th worst record in the league?
I think they're realistically, it's a guaranteed top 10 pick. I think there's a 0.0001% chance at 11, but that's the bare minimum. That's the lowest we could potentially go ever. Maybe one ping pong ball out of the hundreds of thousands that are going to be bouncing around in there. But yeah, that's so top 10 and then 15 because obviously Masai Ujiri's going to draft someone that no one knows about, and the research will be done for nothing. The videos will be there for nothing. But
yep.
That's just how it goes as a Raptors fan.
Yeah, that absolutely is how it goes. I would not be surprised at all if it was some obscure European dude that's not even projected to go in the first round, that none of the scouts or any of the analysts reporting or doing the coverage on the draft night are going to have any clue who it is. They're just going to be left scratching their heads, giving us fun one-liners, because obviously with Bruno Caboclo, we've used that line so many times, 2 years away from being 2 years away. Just some of those soundbite gems. But that being said, we shouldn't squander this tanking season. If we have a high draft pick the best available player. We both agree with that. I think everyone agrees with that. Don't pick via positional need, just pick the best guy.
Yeah, playing that tank animation, getting those L's. This tank can't be for nothing. This suffering, these moments. But Riker, the Raptors 37-32. The Google Live thing is very behind us right now, but it's 37-32. What are your thoughts on this game as we've been
I was just about to ask you, do you like this lineup with Stanley Johnson being our shooting guard and then having 3 centers, Gillespie, Birch, and Baines out at the same time? So having only one shot creator in Malachi Flynn and then 3 centers.
When you run 6 guys, these are the lineups you're going to have to put out there. I don't know. But yeah, the Raptors. What are your thoughts on Khem Birch just hoisting up threes as of late.
I wonder if that's a coaching influence, like if they're suggesting that he should try and shoot some threes just to see, in sort of a low pressure end of the season, tank is completed, you have free reign to do what you want, try and put up some game threes just so we can maybe work on developing that in the off season. Or if he's saying, all right, I don't care, I personally don't care, I'm just gonna have fun with it, I'm gonna let them rip. What do you think? Do you get the impression that he's being asked to shoot threes? Because it's not in his game. It hasn't been in his arsenal as an NBA player, right? But obviously he had limited minutes on Orlando, and I think that they'd be disappointed if he came off the bench and started hucking. But
I don't know. He said when he came to the Raptors, it's a different system, it's a different vibe, and he's been working on it, apparently. It's something he's allowed to do, allowed to let loose with this Toronto Raptors team. But Riker, we have a super chat from Meta Solar asking, what players do you guys think the Raptors are gone? If I could read. What players do you guys think are gone this offseason? Should we list? Is anyone on the floor right now back next year, Riker?
Oh, anyone on the floor? Yikes. Well, I think it's safe to say we're bringing back Malachi Flynn.
Yeah, 1,000%.
I think on the block, on the chopping block, is every other player out there. Stanley Johnson,
Birch,
definitely Stanley Johnson and Aaron Baines. Freddie Gillespie, obviously we signed him very cheap to that 2-year deal, and so there's no need to cut him because he's not really doing anything. He's not infringing on that cap space. Birch, I think he could get a little bit more money in the off season. And do you think we've seen enough from him to want to re-sign? I would think we would give him $4 or $5 million a year. If we were willing to give Aaron Baines $7 million, I would think we would give Birch $4 or $5 million.
Oh, I'm sold on Birch as our backup center for the future. I think he is an upper echelon, top tier backup center, and even a fringe lower tier starting caliber center. I'm sold on Birch from what I've seen. His defense, his mobility, a full offseason of shooting with the confidence, knowing he'll come back to Toronto with being able, even without it being on his in his bag for the longest while, being able to hoist up 6-7 a game. He's going to want that shooting stroke working next year.
Did you see him do a turnaround fader too?
I'm a little bit behind.
What is the score? 40-38?
40-36.
Okay.
Oh, here he is. Here he is.
Fader.
Ooh, is that Hakeem? Is that Hakeem? Oh my! See, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So he obviously has confidence. He's looking to add a couple moves to his bag, and you put him on a lineup with Fred VanVleet. Aaron Baines. I have the pause it for half a second so you're caught up. We can get these reactions at the same time.
No.
All right. Tell me when Aaron Baines hits a 3, and then I'll start playing it again.
Spoiler alert. Jeez.
Oh man.
That's a transition 3. Oh my.
he's at 3 this game. He's saving his best for last then.
Aaron Baines, he is getting that. Max out Baines. That's...
So, I can't remember what I was saying, but it was something to the effect of well, we're going to have to get into this conversation around Kyle Lowry as well. Obviously, there's been some reports to say that the New York Knicks are looking seriously at Kyle Lowry this offseason, but let's just assume Kyle Lowry is out of the picture. At least he's maybe going to move to the bench if he is re-signed.
Yep.
So you have Fred VanVleet, you have Gary Trent Jr., you have OG, you have Pascal Siakam, you have Khem Birch, unless you pick up a better center in the offseason, right? Which there's some guys out there we can discuss that as well. But we both believe current roster, that's your best lineup. Could Khem Birch be unlocked, right? Like, does he have the potential to be good with those guys out there?
Yeah, I'm sold on Khem Birch. You don't have to sell me. I think he's going to be solid, but as a starter, I think he's still better off the bench. Or I think he's still the most ideal role. And as you said, he could probably play with the starters. Obviously, it's not just the 2018 year again where we run 5 in and then 5 out like a hockey line or something like that. But it's I've been learning my puck for the Leafs Digest, saucing the skates, cross crease grease.
I think you ruin all of those expressions there.
Ruin or make them? That's the real question. Aaron Baines at the free throw line on my stream now. The chat is amped up for Aaron Baines. I saw someone mention earlier asking if we should have kept O'Shea Brissett. So Riker, I think your mom's in the background.
Yeah, she just shouted at me. at me. That's the woes. You come back home, you visit family for a little bit. You're stuck. You don't have your own working space anymore. A lot of cross contamination with the sound.
Yeah, I got my mom's playing some Bugatti Biebs upstairs, so hopefully it's not pulling up in the chat. But I don't know. Do you think the Raptors should have kept O'Shea Brissett?
Oh, another wedgie. The Raptors? No, it doesn't really make sense to keep O'Shea Brissett. The thing is, he played pretty well for the Toronto Raptors, right? But he didn't have a role on the team, and I think now he's obviously gone to a situation where he's starting lineup, his playoff team. That's great for the young guy.
Yep.
Obviously, he's a Canadian. I can't remember what city he's from, Markham or Mississauga, something like that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Somewhere in Ontario. But
he played in the Orangeville campus, the BioSteel place. I know Jamal Murray came up through there as well. There's a couple guys they train in this kind of nice basketball facility, and really the outskirts, like deep outskirts of Toronto. I passed by it a couple times, and they advertised the heck out of the NBA guys that've been there.
Yep.
Trying to find where he's from. No, they don't even say. He is from. They just say Toronto, of course. It's gross.
Of course. Anyone you meet from the GTA area
just gets lumped into Toronto. Yeah. He was born in Toronto, spent the first 4 years of his life living in the Jane and Finch neighborhood before moving to Mississauga.
Okay.
Then he went to Finlay Prep in Nevada. And then he went back to Canada to spend a year at the Athlete Institute, Mono, Ontario. Mono, Orangeville, same thing. That's what I was talking about.
Yep.
Then he went to Syracuse. He had offers from USC, Oregon, and Memphis. I would have picked Oregon, big Oregon guy, but that's it. And yeah, the rest is history. Dog's going again.
Yeah.
I'm off.
You love to see it, but O'Shea Brissett, he's a guy that you hate to let go, because we've had obviously Bembry, Johnson, and Utah as the guys he was competing with for a potential roster spot this season. I think in his limited time with the Indiana Pacers, he certainly outshined those players in terms of bucket getting. He was known as a hustle rebounder when he was getting minutes last season. So I think in combination with his just improved scoring ability, knocking down the threes, finishing athleticism, I think I would love to have kept him over the rest of those guys. And the fact that he is Canadian, a bit younger.
Who, Bembry and Stanley?
No, I'm saying O'Shea Brissett.
Yeah, kept him over Bembry and Stanley?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's fair, because I don't see the Raptors having any need or purpose or desire to re-sign Stanley Johnson or Bembry this offseason.
Yeah, it's going to be very dependent on where we go with the roster, who we sign, who we bring in, because surely it's going to be very different next season. People are bringing up Nisha Seth is saying Elise Johnson. I apparently always mess up that name, but he's been balling out for the
I heard the proper
Brooklyn Nets.
pronunciation.
Yep.
It is Zay, but it's I heard the right way. We had the ending right, but it's the beginning of it that we were messing up.
Okay. People will say
if somebody
it in the
can
chat.
give us the phonetic pronunciation, then we'll give that a go. Anyways.
Those phonetics. But people are watching this game. The Raptors 47-42. Do you think we can win this? Why are we trying to tank against the I guess we do have that 6-man squad out here right now. We'll run through the box score a little bit. Ooh, the puppers.
Look at his drip, dude. Look at his drip.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
I like it. The bandana?
Yeah.
Jeez.
He looks absolutely tragic with his hair shaved. But
I thought when you told me he was shaved, I thought it was proper skinned, like a skinned cat.
If I held him sideways, you would see it.
Okay. That's a shout out Elmo. It's when I signed that flag that's in the back, I had a little fun time with the puppers. Running around. My dogs are super old, or my dog now. But Alize? Alaze.
Alaze.
Alaze?
That's an odd name. It's not the oddest of names. There's plenty of weird ones out there, but
I respect it. Cool sounding names. It's respect.
Yeah, but you're not reading Alize and pronouncing it Alize without knowing that beforehand.
That's true. But
mine's not going there.
Yeah, that's something we struggle with. That's why we came in with the Charles Barkley animation. People bringing up Nate Bjorkgren and all the chatter around him. Obviously, he's been trashed on by the Pacers local media. Apparently, teammates don't like, or the Pacers teammates don't like him. The assistant coach, the Jeff Foster, freaked out at a player in one of the previous games because the player told him to sit down, and then the coach, Jeff Foster, tried to fight him. Nate Bjorkgren's kind of in the middle. Then there was rumors that the Raptors players didn't like him because he was the go-between for Nick Nurse and the players. You had to go through Nate Bjorkgren if you wanted to talk to Nick Nurse. Nurse came out and said that was all foolishness, hearsay, and all of that. But Ryker, would you mind bringing back Nate Bjorkgren if he's fired by the Indiana Pacers?
All of this is news to me, Ben. I don't follow my NBA coaches rumors as heavily as I follow what's going on with the players, but that's very interesting. So I don't know. I don't obviously locker room has a big part to play with getting your guys to be productive, to be good, because you see sometimes that you swap out a coach and all of a sudden the exact same roster, right? Exact same group of guys, you get more wins out of them. And so it's an odd thing, but obviously a part of that is the system and the offensive and defensive philosophy that a coach can bring, but then it's also how can they manage lineups, how can they get people's personalities to work together and get the best chemistry out of a team too. And so that was why Nick Nurse, we were saying, was potentially him, Pop, or Brad Stevens were the best coach in the NBA. We were saying that after the championship run, that it's not even a contest that Nick Nurse should be in that top three, if not number one, because he was able to manage the whole Kawhi Leonard fiasco and obviously all of the intensity that he had coming out of the San Antonio system, and then manage that load management, win a championship. Now this season, right, with different squad of guys, all of a sudden we're saying, like, I don't know. Sometimes I've been questioning Nick Nurse. 33 different starting lineup changes. This probably marks 34 tonight. 27 unique. So it's very hard to find consistency like that. I'm not sure, Ben. I don't know what the coach. I would assume the coaching staff is not going to have any turnover this offseason.
Yeah, and well, the Raptors should be fine. I think the Pacers, they could certainly. The chat's talking about it right now. Nick Nurse has to school his ex-assistant and now head coach of the Pacers, Nate Bjorkgren. And got to get that dub for that little competition. But yeah, I see all the points you brought up there. Bjorkgren, because there's guys in the league that are players coaches. Dwayne Casey was known as setting a culture for this Toronto Raptors team. Brett Brown set a culture for those Sixers teams, right? And then there's your schemers. Nick Nurse, he's become a little bit of a schemer guy. Brad Stevens, he's an X's and O's, but again, you look at a guy like Brad Stevens, he's had trouble managing the locker room, getting guys to be held accountable. And Bjorkgren, I've creeped Pacers Reddit, seen what they're saying about him, and they all say he's a good strategic defender. The defenses make sense, the plays look good, but the players just aren't bought in for him, and we've seen that happen with the Celtics. Nick Nurse, I disagree with your point on the criticism of Nick Nurse. I think the starting lineups, yes, but this has been such a tragic year for the Toronto Raptors that injuries, health and safety protocols, being in Tampa, having such roster flux, not having a center. I think we've done well with what we've had, and we had that stretch prior to the health and safety protocols where things were happening, but and then Nate Bjorkgren, he came in, just really didn't have the locker room, and Nate McMillan was a really good coach for them. Obviously, they couldn't get over the hump, but now he seems to be getting over the hump with the Atlanta Hawks. He's a guy that sort of had a bit of both, but obviously they wanted to switch it up there in Indiana. But it's pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. I think because he's an assistant, I'd like to have him back. Nick Nurse raved highly about his basketball IQ and stuff, but again, you got to be able to manage players if you're going to be a head coach in the league.
Yeah. You have to be a people person, and yeah, it's very interesting to hear. I didn't know those things about Nate Bjorkgren, so I won't say it surprises me. Didn't have any strong opinions towards them either way, but hey, it is what it is. I wouldn't mind talking about the Atlanta Hawks a little bit. You say they've finally come over the hump. I don't know what seed they're sitting in. I'm going to have to pull out the standings real quick. Ben, do you know off the top of your head?
4th, 5th, 6th.
They're tied right now with New York. New York must have won the split on them this year because 4th seed is going to the Knicks. And timely as I say the Knicks, there's a super chat come in. Steven Tanaka, when's Riker starting the New York Knicks digest? The New York Knicks playoff run digest. Just very, very period based. Well, this is a good enough opportunity or a good enough time to start promoting, Ben, our other channel for the playoffs. So I'll let you hit that
for the playoffs.
Promotion.
For all NBA content, Courtside Digest, it's coming. It's linked. No videos up on there yet. We have a bunch of subscribers because we once tried to launch an NBA channel. We did it a couple times, but unfortunately had no idea how to make actual videos that didn't require hours of editing in the mornings while Riker and I were at school and working and everything. But we figured it out this season for the Raptors Digest. We've implemented here, and now we're going to be able to branch off. We're keeping the Raptors Digest, obviously. Stay tuned here for all the Raptors news, Raptors coverage. But Courtside Digest, we know there's going to be no Raptors news, topics, or whatnot for the next month at least, till the draft lottery. So check out the Courtside Digest. It's in the link, or it's in you go to our homepage on the channel, Courtside Digest. Got a new logo, new design, rebrand. Got the Instagram made last night. I can't change the name of our old Instagram account for 2 weeks, so we'll still say Courtside Connect, but the username is changed, so that's exciting. We can't do them both at once, but definitely check that out because we're going to be breaking down all NBA content, playoffs, Norman Powell, JV, whoever you guys want to see. So if you want to
O'Shea
Brissett, him in the play-in tournament, all these former Raptors, just guys that are interesting across the league. He just splashed a 3 right there. Shout out Brissett.
Yeah, we can bring a lot of Raptors related content into all of the playoff series, I think, because there's ex-Raptors coaches. There's also teams that have typically been a menace to the Toronto Raptors in the playoffs. Where do your thoughts lie, Ben, real quick, with the Bucks? Because they've been the team that we've wanted to beat every year, have another team beat, so that Giannis would be convinced or at least motivated, pushed away from Milwaukee and over to Toronto in free agency. Obviously, he signed the Supermax. Money talks, right? Money talks. I think it was pretty obvious he was going to re-sign with them. He seemed like a pretty loyal dude. We were trying to make as compelling an argument, and I'll tell you, there were some compelling arguments and supporting facts as to why he might come over to Toronto, despite everybody saying we were just being absolutely naive about the whole thing. But Ben, now that it's over, that book is closed. We're looking to other free agents. What is your thoughts now on the Bucks? Do you still dislike them as much, or do you care? Would you like them to win a championship or not?
I love Giannis. I enjoy him as a basketball player. I dislike the Milwaukee Bucks. I hope they lose. I don't dislike them as much as the Celtics, but the Celtics are bad this season. I don't dislike them as much as the Nets, so I hope they beat the Nets. But I think I'd have to root for Philly this summer, even though in my heart of hearts, deep down, basketball-wise, in terms of the top guys in the Eastern Conference, I'm still rooting for the Knicks. I've jumped on your bandwagon there.
Woo!
But
my hat.
Break out the Knicks hat. Get that styling. It's a quality.
There you go.
Throw it on that basketball. But I think if I had to pick, if my life depended on it, and I couldn't pick the Nets, well, even my life depended, I'm just not picking the Nets because, that's the Nets.
What about the Celtics? I see Sam Given say, as long as the Celtics lose, I'm happy. We have big animosity towards Celtics. I know when you were still living in Montreal pre-pandemic, you were living with some Celtics fans, or at least you had some friends who were Celtics fans. What are your thoughts on those guys? They had such a tumultuous season. It ended really poorly for them. I think their whole fan base is incredibly disappointed with the results because they're not in the position with the Raptors where they at least have a shot at a draft pick. They just have to fight their way in to the play-in tournament.
And they didn't lose any
still
players.
Dislike them? Yeah.
They didn't lose any players.
They were healthy, except for Jaylen Brown at the end of the season.
Yeah.
But they were bad before he went out.
Yeah, and Jason Tatum was out mid-year with health and safety protocols as well. But, I'm the Celtics. They're fans. They're just always, and I love my friends that are Celtics fans. Got a lot of friends from the New England area, but the way they are about their sports teams, you just can't root for them. You love to see them down in the dumps, those squads, those Celtics teams, and it's the perfect year for an anti-Celtics fan to see them suffer. Because we've embraced it. We've hopped on the tank, and we're getting a little pick out of it. So that's the exciting thing there. But the Celtics, they're getting no such pick. They're getting no top 10 pick. Maybe even a top 1 pick for the Toronto Raptors. So the season was worth it, hopefully, for our team and those teams that struggled there. Unless they make a little playoff run, it's nice to see them lose a little bit. I guess they did lose Hayward. But he was always injured, so I'm not even counting.
Acharya. I've been at play of the segment. I've been at Acharya. They did lose Hayward. They lost. Yeah, okay. He's saying they didn't lose. You said they didn't lose anybody this season, but they obviously lost Hayward in the offseason. But he was, he wasn't the impact guy for them. Obviously, he ended up being a big loss for them, but ultimately, you expect more from. Well, and they made their midseason trades. They got back, arguably, a better rotational piece for them in Fournier, who was an absolute stud on Orlando, like by far the second best player on that team. And, he's not really done anything to get them across the hump. Because you look at what Gordon Hayward needs to do in order to be an impact player. Fournier really is he just needs to be a spot-up guy, a dribble drive guy. He can do that. He has the tools, but it hasn't converted to wins. My dog's going crazy here.
But I think the one real reason that they struggled this year is because Marcus Smart hasn't been at the level he's been at in recent years. He's obviously been one of the best defenders, an All-NBA defender in previous seasons. That hasn't been the case this year. He's dealt with some injuries, and he's only 27. He's a guy that I've been in love with his play style, even though he does chuck threes. And there's rumors now that he's lost the air of the Celtics locker room in terms of being their leader, their heart and soul. Ryker, I know we have a bunch of small guards, but I've been in love with Marcus Smart for a while. If we lose Kyle Lowry, I look at Marcus Smart as almost a Lowry light in terms of that demeanor, that leadership, that energy, taking charges, flopping every now and then, getting the team going. If we could bring Marcus Smart off the bench, I wouldn't mind seeing that if it even if it meant requiring a little trade with the Boston Celtics.
Oh yeah, for Lowry, sign and trade.
No, not
Lowry
for Lowry.
For Marcus
if
Smart.
I see Lowry in a Celtics jersey, I will be very sad.
I was wondering where you were going with that.
No.
Who would you possibly trade though for Marcus Smart, and what is even his contract?
He has a bigger contract, but would you trade Boucher if we got an Evan Mobley for Marcus Smart, maybe a pick?
Okay. I see where you're edging at, and I think a guy like Boucher would be much better for the Boston Celtics. Yeah. I'm gonna search Marcus Smart. Oops, contract. Here we go. I saw the total and I thought it was his one season pay, $51 million. How is he getting the most money possible? I didn't even think that value kicked in until like 2026. Anyways, a 4-year, so that would make it a $13 million annual contract. Okay, so $13 million, and Boucher's at what? 8?
Yeah, 7, 8.
Yeah, so I think you can make that work if that was the move, but obviously you'd have to pick up Mobley. And would that be enough then? Would that be enough to say you have Pascal Siakam, Mobley, Kem Birch, Freddie Gillespie? Are you confident that that's enough in sort of the 4 or 5 department in order for the Raptors to be strong, to be able to match up against the bigger teams? Obviously, Boucher is not really helping you in matching up against the likes of Embiid and Giannis, but he is just developed into such a sort of dynamic scorer at his position, and he does have the potential to be a good shot blocker too. And Freddie Gillespie, at his size, he's done well as well. But anyways, point being, would you be comfortable to trade away Boucher and those be your 4 that sort of carry the Toronto Raptors?
I think those could be fine. I look at Gillespie as more, especially next season, insurance, right? The same way Baines probably should have been for this Raptors team this season. Maybe having another big guy in there. I do like that rotation with Boucher in there for just speaking outside of the context of this Marcus Smart hypothetical that likely will never happen. But I don't know. I think the Raptors, it's going to be so hard to predict what's going to happen next season in terms of players, movement, because this team is just not good this year in terms of how they played. And I think they could have been a lot better than their record showed, but being in Tampa, injuries, everything. It was prime tanking season. But Steven Tanaka is coming back with another super chat asking how many three-point attempts is Baines launching by the end of the game. Will he break 7? Hashtag the pylon sniper. Riker, what's your take?
Pylons don't shoot 7 threes. That's how the meme started. That's the humble origins. Ben, I think he has 4. I think he's
at 4
for 4 already this game.
This is who we expected.
Are we willing to?
This is who we thought we were
concede?
Getting.
What's that?
We thought we were getting a 3-point shooting big man. We titled the video when he came in, Raptors acquire 3-point shooting big man.
Clearly, we didn't run back the tapes enough to break down his shot.
He shot 36%. He shot 36%.
That's not terrible.
Yeah, that's.
Are we willing to concede that Pylons do shoot 7 threes if he shoots 7 or more this game and shoots above 50%?
I'll concede it. I'll buy a Baines jersey. Hang it up in the background. Hang it in the rafters of the Raptors Digest studio. As we're live from night in, night out.
Oh man. Thank you for providing that laughter, Steven Tanaka.
But do you know what hasn't been providing laughter? This game.
Performance of the young Toronto Raptors. Again, tough to expect that with a 6-man rotation you're able to keep up to a team that's playing. How many guys have they put out there?
6.
1, 2, 3, 4. No, they have yet to run 10 men, but obviously they have the capacity to do that. The Pacers.
Oh, the Pacers. I thought you meant the Raptors.
Yeah, so you should be able to just beat the Raptors purely by fast breaks in this game.
Yep.
Especially given 3 of your 6 guys are unathletic. Well, Kem Birch is pretty athletic, but I wouldn't put Gillespie. I don't know. I wouldn't say he's unathletic, but I wouldn't say he's a sprinter. And Aaron Baines certainly is not athletic. So you could just run the floor and have lots of ample fast break opportunities to win this one, Ben. But
yeah,
brought it to the half. Do you have any opinions on this first half of the game?
It's cool seeing O'Shea Brissett be good. I like his new hairstyle. It's different from last season. But Karis LeVert, Doug McDermott, O'Shea Brissett's having a revenge game against the Toronto Raptors, and that's just really what's occurred. Looking at the box score now, 5 of 10. They're really letting him get those 10 attempts in this game. He shot 3 threes, 3 of 6. I'm disappointed we let him go. And Avino is saying he's going to hold me to buying an Aaron Baines jersey, which is unfortunate, but he's got to make the 7. Or did I say shoot? I don't even know. It's tough. Maybe it's worth a meme. But do you know what jersey I want? Like throwback random Raptors player? I want an Aaron Gray jersey. That's just a culture guy right there. You ever follow that man's Instagram?
No, I never.
Man, he's posting.
Didn't you bump into Aaron Gray in a hotel?
No, I bumped into Brian Scalabrine in a hotel. You can
go to you bumped into the White Mamba.
Yeah, you can check out my Instagram. There's a mean selfie from 2015 of me and at Ben Rogers 1. We got our IGs. You don't even have your IG existed anymore.
It's soon time. It's soon time to get it back up and running.
But you can check out there a mean selfie with me and the White Mamba. I was about to have knee surgery, and Brian Scalabrine pulls up to the hotel that I was staying at. So do you know where the bus would be? He was asking someone in front of me for that, like, where we go to get the bus, and I went up to him. Hi, Mr. Scalabrine. Can I get a picture?
How much taller would he be than you? You'd be probably all of 6'9".
Yeah, 6'8", 6'9". So he had a
Did you see the video of him? I seen it in TikTok format, but it was actually, I think, probably like it wasn't Snapchat. Those are what, 10-second videos? Maybe it's just stand up. Anyways, It was on TikTok format. High school people saw at just like a local gym, Scalabrine was putting reps up, and they started trash talking him, and then he challenged him to a 1-on-1 and just absolutely crushed the kid. Did you see that?
Bro, he had a show. He had a full-out show on playing random guys in 1-on-1, and they were all Jimmy High Roller did a video on this. Oh my goodness. I'm getting FaceTimes. My ads are popping up from the stream. Josh is FaceTiming me all at once. My computer exploded. But I digress. Jimmy High Roller did a cool video breaking down his show where he took on former D1 athletes, different players, just breaking down, playing one-on-one against them, and then he took on like 3 camera crewmen, and they were legitimate people that thought they could beat him. And tall guys, he didn't just have a massive size advantage, and he just dominated them.
Did he throw his weight around? Because that's how he beat the high school kid in the video that I watched.
He kind of did, but then he was also hitting like step back threes, like midi pulls and all that. So,
well, here's the thing: only at any given time, there's 30 teams. There's 15 people per team. So there's what, 3 quick maths? That's like 450 people. At any given time, there's only like 450 people in the league. And there's hundreds of thousands of people that grow up playing basketball. So even the most tragic NBA player in history, which Brian Scalabrini's in there, Luke Walton is in there in that conversation. Obviously, a lot of the one and dones in terms of high draft picks. You could maybe even put Anthony Bennett up in there, Kwame Brown, likes of those guys. But even the absolute worst NBA players are still magnitudes ahead of, people who haven't made the NBA. So looks can be deceiving, Ben.
Yep. No, certainly. And shout out Brian Scalabrine. He seemed like a really nice guy when I met him.
That is.
So that was a cool thing to see. Getting my stream back here. We had Nova in the chat. Nova. Okay. I wasn't sure who you were in the chat, but he sent me an email. I don't know if he sent one to you as well, Riker. My Ben Rogers at raptorsdigest.ca email offering a free program from an OG Nova Scotia. I tried to respond. I found out the email didn't go through because that email is busted, the raptorsdigest.ca email. So we'll hit you back, Nova, with the raptorsdigest at gmail.com. Remember that when we made the website?
What does that mean? A free Raptors program from the first ever Raptors game ever in Halifax, Nova Scotia. What does that mean?
Yeah, so apparently,
Raptors program.
Apparently, the first game ever. Well, yeah, he explained it to me. I checked it out too. The history of it. The first ever game from the Raptors was in Halifax. It was in Hali, East Coast, and they played a preseason game there. Nova was there. Nova, the username, I forget the specific name he had in the email, but yeah, so got a little piece of history he's willing to send over to us, which would be greatly appreciated.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, I'll respond on the Raptor. I've been trying to figure out the Raptors Digest email because it's getting messy. Because it would always go to junk. It would always go to junk, and then I fooled around with different things, and now I just can't send emails from that account.
Oh, okay. Like our Gmail.
No, not the Gmail. The
@Raptors.
At raptorsdigest.ca.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
When you're a young software engineer, it's a tough world. Trying not to break everything you make, but
fair enough.
Oh, the giraffe.
Surprising amount of people in this watch along though.
Yeah, 80 people checking it out. We're at a different time. People are asking for a like spike earlier. I'll get the little animation cooking there. But if you guys want to get a little like spike, tell your friends to hop on the fun party that we're having with this exhilarating, electrifying Toronto Raptors game that we've been breaking down so in depth throughout this this watch along. But
I'm just seeing too. Actually, did you see the 2021 Hall of Fame inductees, Ben? There's a bit of a spoiler. Blinky in the comment section is spoiling one of them.
Oh, yes. Chris Bosh. Because Kobe, Duncan, and KG got inducted technically for last year's, right?
Yep.
And then
that was like the ceremony, and now the announcement for the next class is yesterday or today.
Yeah, it's Chris Bosh, Paul Pierce.
Yep.
Sham should be kicked out. He should be in the trash hall.
Is he going to bring strippers up with him during his thank you ceremony when they puts on the jacket, gets to the podium? Is it going to get
That's
wild?
not why I dislike Paul Pierce, just so people know. But I dislike that man for everything he did for against the Raptors, and then the hate he spewed in the media. So the chat can have all the Paul Pierce slander it wants, but he's in there. I don't know. I think Amir Johnson should be in the Hall of Fame before him, but
Weber.
Yeah, Chris Webber and Ben Wallace made it. Ben Wallace. He's always one
Ben
of those.
Wallace,
He's always one
he's
of
a
those.
legend.
He's one of those guys that people say, oh, if he didn't make it, then this guy shouldn't make it. But now he's made it, so everyone else that's in those arguments are gonna have to make it now. But yeah, congrats to all of them except for Paul.
Paul Blunt saying, when can we expect the limited edition Rikey Crockies, i.e. Riker Crocs? Maybe just some Crocs with my face, those little poppets, whatever you used to call those. You put the little pieces into the croc holes.
Mm-hmm.
I love those. I love Crocs. If you've never heard my monologue on why I love Crocs, then I'm not going to get into it today, but they're my jam. I don't wear them out and about. Like, I'm not that kind of guy, but I do appreciate a good Croc for hiking, especially if it's wet and you're going up sort of rocky surfaces. The rubber gives really good traction. Zane Khan, still possible to land Karl-Anthony Towns this offseason. Now, that was a wild trade scenario that we proposed because Timberwolves were supposedly having a fire sale. They potentially wanted to bring in James Wiseman to pair along. What is it? Oh, I'm struggling for his name. Anthony Edwards.
Yeah.
And it seemed to make a little bit of sense given they're both rookies. They both have high ceilings potentially. We said give Norman Powell, Kyle Lowry, give whatever you want, and bring in Karl-Anthony Towns. I don't think anything is going to happen on that front, Ben. Do you have any sort of counter argument to that, or can we put that one to bed?
The big thing about it was the T-Wolves sucked. They were horrible at that point. That was the reason the rumors were flying. People were saying, oh, Cat's as good as gone. They're going to want to try and remove him and all that. But recently, as of late, the Minnesota Timberwolves, they've actually been playing really well to end out the stretch of the season. Obviously,
really well, being 5-5, 2 losses.
Hey, yo, that's very good for them as of late. And obviously, D'Lo was injured for a lot of the season. When he was back, Karl-Anthony Towns was out. Anthony Edwards is taking this game to the next level. They might lose their pick. They might lose it to the Golden State Warriors. It's top 3 protected. They have tied for the top 3 odds, but I believe it's still around a 47% chance that pick is gone. If they lose that, that's going to be a huge blow for them next season.
Yeah.
But
I want them to get that pick.
I like the Warriors a lot more, so I hope they lose that pick. But I'm not a big fan of the T-Wolves, but I don't know.
I just don't like the Warriors. I despise the Warriors.
You're a Curry hater, bro.
I am a Curry hater.
But
Ben, I agree, because wasn't it when Houston was on the historical losing stretch, 21 games without a win, and then obviously that record got snapped against the Raptors. Just one of the highlights from this season. Go Toronto. But when that happened, they were still holding a better regular season record than the Timberwolves at the time. So I guess the Timberwolves did recover because they finished with a better record than Houston, who was dead last in the NBA, and OKC, who was optimized for the tank. And they were probably worried there because they had a really bad lineup and they were still winning games. So they managed to bring it down to 14. But yeah, I think we can put Karl-Anthony Towns to bed. Michael Emmond. Hey friends, get out a beautiful Ontario day and come indoors to watch the Toronto Raptors live stream. That's right. Paul Blunt, Chris Weber, Brandon Tull, AO from Windsor, Ontario. Huge fan of the podcast. Huge fan of you. So thanks. Thanks for that. And oh man, there's a ton coming in. Ben, off season, I think it's time to talk about it. Kyle Lowry, what's going to happen with him?
He wants the bread. He wants the bag. Someone's going to give him the bag regardless. He's an unrestricted free agent, so certainly he's going to be in demand. But will he want to go to some of these teams that he's in demand for? Will the Heat, who do have cap space in theory, want to give him a $20+ million contract? Will the Sixers? Will the Lakers? That's the big question. I see the Raptors being willing to give him a decent contract for 1 or 2 seasons, specifically given the fact that we kept him at the trade deadline. He still has been good this season, despite the fact the Raptors have been resting him. But you bring in Trent Jr. Clearly, Trent is our de facto starting 2 guard. He struggled off the bench at the end of this season. You'd expect him to be the guy you'd bring in. You traded Norman Powell, who is an absolute beast for this team. You expect Trent to be given the reins. You're going a bit younger. I expect him to be gone, but I would not be disappointed at all if he stays. I'd like to see him come back. There's been talks about a sign and trade. The Sixers and the Lakers, they would have to sign and trade him unless they make other moves and relieve some cap space, but the Sixers just aren't going to do that with Simmons, Harris, and Joel Embiid on their roster. So I don't know. I think if he wants to go to Philadelphia, if the Sixers are willing to give him a bag, I could see a sign and trade happening there. The Heat, they have the cap space. Maybe they want to keep Dragic, so I could see him just leaving there in free agency. The Lakers, who knows what's going to go on with them. They think they're going to get every player. I peeped Clippers Reddit just a little bit, and they all think that they're going to get him for a mid-level exception, so Clippers fans are just absolutely insane. But I don't even know.
New York Knicks sound interested?
Yep, the Knicks. So you probably you follow the Knicks definitely closer than I do. But maybe a take he could sign over there. But I wouldn't be mad if he came off the bench. He'd be the perfect player to bring off the bench if he'd accept that role, even if we paid him a little bit too much and we didn't have any guys. But I don't know, Riker. What are your thoughts on it?
It would surprise me if you went to the Knicks. Obviously, I'm going to start there because they have Manuel Quickley, who New York Knicks fans love. Derrick Rose, who's been exceptional this season, a real rebirth under Tom Thibodeau, and playing off the bench. It's really unlocked a really nice role for him. And it's funny because when he got... Did he get traded from the Pistons? I hate to say that I don't know if he got traded or just...
Derrick Rose, he got traded, for Dennis Smith.
Right.
Yep.
He requested to go somewhere where he would at least be in playoff picture, at least contending, and it seemed like a real backstab when they shipped him over to New York, and now here they are.
They weren't good just yet. They weren't good at this point yet.
They were booty. They sucked. And so that was interesting that played out, and they still have Tilinquina, who I'm not sure what the future is going to hold for him. So they have 3 point guards who I suspect are going to stick around on the roster. And then say you want Kyle Lowry, you're obviously going to try and play him in that sort of 1-2 combo, the same way that they're playing Fred VanVleet currently with the Toronto Raptors. But I don't know. Knicks don't seem like a true destination to me. Heat, I agree with you. Why are you signing Kyle Lowry for $20 million? This is the kind of guy that if he went to the Lakers, he'd probably sign for $2 million, right? He's at that point in his career where he would go and pair up with somebody to win a championship and take very little money. So I don't know who's going to want him for $20 million. That's still a contender. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, but I don't know. He's playing at that level where I think he could get that money. I think an underrated team that might sign him
Not
is
from a contender.
The Mavericks. I'm thinking the Mavericks might, if they let go of...
I would like him on the Mavericks. I would.
Yeah, I think he'd be a good
because
energy.
they like short, older point guards. Yep. They've always had them.
Yep,
right?
And Jalen Brunson's a guy that's... I think he's a Nova guy as well, but is a similar player as well, and he is dominating off the bench for the Dallas Mavericks as of late. So that's a team I'm keeping an eye out for. I think could be an interesting fit. But
he'd be nice alongside Luka as well. I think they could play off one another. Obviously, they had JJ Barea. They had Jason Terry. They had Jason Kidd. Like, they have a ton of kind of older point guards that are a little bit past their prime that ended up playing really well within their system. So I could see Kyle Lowry on Dallas Mavericks fitting in real well.
Yeah, certainly, and there
just hasn't been any reports.
Yeah, they're a legitimate franchise for sure. Brandon Toll is saying thanking for the shout out. Nova is asking do you think Pascal is worth keeping long term? He seems like a lazy one trick pony, and that's a fair thing to say given he's underperformed, has not exceeded or matched the expectations we've had with the Supermax contract or whatever he had. I don't know if it was specifically Supermax, but the max deal he received. But I think he's played better as of late. He's had his ups and downs throughout the year. I'm confident once we have fans back, the team is back in Toronto. He's more in a rhythm. He can get back to the level he was playing pre-bubble. A full offseason, he came back every offseason, improved year after year before the pandemic happened. So I'm thinking if he comes back now, has a full long offseason, he can add a lot to his bag and add a trick or two to the pony you described him as.
He's at least a 2-trick pony.
Yeah.
If not a 3-trick pony. Because he has a sort of mid-range fade, he has his post spin, and sometimes he'll hit his 3-pointers. So like obviously shooting a 3 is not really a trick, but those are 3 separate ways to score from different places on the court. So I'd classify him as at least a 3-trick pony. If he can get back to running the fast break rather than being a guy who's trying to carry the ball up the court, then that's where Pascal Siakam thrived. That's how he earned his max contract, is being an energy player and putting him back in a situation where he's not expected to be the number 1 option. There's fans that when he does an energy play, just getting a steal, getting a fast break dunk or fast break layup, getting a block, whatever, that provides energy when there's fans. When you're playing for nobody, right? You don't get to sort of play off of that momentum as much. So that's why we're reserving sort of that severe judgment to say, let's pass on Siakam or trade him until we at least get one more regular season with him.
Yep. And
2.5 trick pony.
I respect it. But and he's been good. He's been good. So it's not like we gave him a contract just off of potential. He has been good in the past. So that's something to look at there. Zane Collins asking, would you guys consider Casey as an assistant coach under Nick Nurse? I don't think Dwayne Casey has spoken Nick Nurse's name since he was fired and Casey was brought in, or Nurse was brought in. He's just signed an extension with the Detroit Pistons as well. So I don't imagine he's leaving the Pistons anytime soon, Riker.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. I'm watching this game. I do see that Fred VanVleet has joined the third quarter commentating that people were mentioning that he was going to. Have to listen. If anybody's listening to, I don't know how you'd listen to that and us, but if you can hear what he's saying, let us know how he's doing. I'm sure that Fred is fire on the mic. He just seems like one of those guys. If he's an assistant coach, or if he has that sort of that chillax, nonchalant, easygoing sort of demeanor. I think he'd be a real treat to listen to on broadcast more consistently, Ben.
True. Yeah, we don't have any of the audio.
Whoa, dude! Jalen Harris is actually in a boot right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, he cooked it up so hard in the last game. He put it all out there on the floor, which we respect. Leafs Digest is in the chat as well, asking people to join the bandwagon. So definitely check that out as well.
Yeah, let us know. Wait, I don't see them. Are they way up?
Yeah, they're up a little bit.
Oh, okay. If they're still in it, when do the Leafs play their first playoff game? Because I know that the playoffs start today. I would be interested to watch. Maybe the third quarter or the third period. Like maybe not a full NHL game because
I listen to the Leafs Digest
players,
for my hockey takes. That's what I hear. I don't watch the games, but shout out the Leafs Digest. But people are asking for Olenek. The Raptors are creeping their way back into this game, Riker. I think
they're down 12 where I'm watching it.
Yeah. That's still close. Relatively.
I guess. It's tough. It's tough with this 6-man lineup.
And Malachi
I'm
Flynn.
surprised Karis LeVert hasn't been torching the Raptors.
Yeah.
He would always cook the Raptors on Brooklyn when he was there. That's one guy I'd be super interested. I know he's coming up as a free agent, Ben. Is his counterpart, who is currently out with ACL injury. There was a lot of speculation around him when there was that big James Harden sweepstakes. It's Spencer Dinwiddie. Would you be interested in looking at him as a free agent this offseason? Because, man, that guy could provide some weapons for the Toronto Raptors.
He's a big point guard. He can shoot the three, shoot the middies, create off the dribble. He was a 20-point per game scorer previously. So he'd be a guy I'd love. You'd be getting him on the cheap after an ACL injury. I've dealt with the ACL. It's tough to come back from, but it's definitely doable. I think he seems like an interesting dude. He wanted his contract in cryptocurrency, I believe. So, pay him in Ethereum. Just watch it go down.
You just sold all your Ethereum?
I just sold a lot of Ethereum. So, shout out. I say bring him in. I'd like to see it. Especially he'd be I don't know if he wants a starting role, but he has came off the bench a little bit. I think he'd be a cool fit off the bench with Fred and Gary Trent Jr. there.
Fred and Gary Trent
as the starters. Exactly. Yeah. And he'd bring a different look than Fred VanVleet, obviously. Taller guy.
Sorry. Keep going. I see Peking is shouting at us TJ Warren, but continue on on Spencer Dinwiddie first.
Yeah, he's a taller point guard. He brings a different style, a different flair than Fred VanVleet. And, the big question with Fred is, will he get his finishing up to scuff, up to where Kyle Lowry's has been in years, where you don't worry about him against a team like the Philadelphia 76ers, where that can sort of use his size and he can't finish in the lane and the three-point shots are off. So if that's not the case, then Fred only shows that obviously Fred is a phenomenal basketball player. He's a legitimate starting point guard in the NBA. But if there are certain nights where you need a longer point guard off the bench where Malachi Flynn probably doesn't cut it either, I think Spencer Dinwiddie could certainly be a viable position and a guy for that role.
Yeah. Now, TJ Warren, that's the next guy. Shooting guard, I believe, but he plays sometimes the sort of that small forward position. Obviously, bubble TJ Warren is going to go down as one of the elite NBA sort of moment players of all time. There's stretches, Lynn Sanity, people love to talk about because Flynn Sanity, which hasn't really actually been a thing, but bubble Warren was absolutely on a different planet. Yeah. Now he's disappointed that his role is obviously not as great this season.
Well, he's injured
would
too.
you look at
Yes, he's been out for
but there was disappointment there before injury. So would you look at a guy like that?
I'd love to see him, again, buy low on a player similar to Spencer Dinwiddie. These guys can come back from these injuries. I've seen Victor Oladipo brought up in the chat as well. A lot of guys dealing with injuries that maybe they could come back from. I don't know, TJ Warren specifically, he's a bucket getter. Obviously, there's question marks about would he fit necessarily with this team in terms of off-the-bench scoring, come in, play defense. I think he could. He'd definitely be more consistent than the triage of bench players we've had currently in the backup wings, but I wouldn't mind him. Depends how much he'd be going for. Victor Oladipo is a guy as well. Used to play for the Indiana Pacers, but obviously is not there presently. He might be out for the entire...
to Miami?
Yep. He's going to be out for the entire next season, apparently,
really?
with quadricep surgery. So, Riker,
wow.
Would you give him maybe a 3-year, $10 million deal and see if we can get him for cheap later on?
So he's had now 3 season-ending injuries.
Yeah, essentially. Since 2018.
Wow. ACL,
hamstring, and now quad.
Wow.
Yeah.
That man just does not have any luck. Hopefully he falls back to his R&B if the whole basketball thing doesn't play out for him. I know he was pretty smooth. I didn't love his flows, but obviously he has a decent enough voice for singing. But no, I wouldn't bother with trying to sign a guy that's going to be injured like that. This, the Raptors, you're trying to build up to something, and that's a guy that I think he's given you as best of what he can provide, and it's probably only going to go downhill. If people had an issue with us saying Kristaps Porzingis would be a potential trade target, surely nobody would appreciate signing a guy who has a full season that you'd have to wait on, and he's no Kevin Durant, right? You would pay that money for Kevin Durant.
Yeah, to wait a year.
Same way that the Brooklyn Nets did. Yeah, but you're not paying that money for Victor Oladipo.
Yeah,
and who really only had one good season.
Yeah,
right?
And there was talks about Fred VanVleet for Depot. Thank goodness that didn't happen.
Thank goodness.
That would have been a mess, but you get sold on a guy that can dunk it, and if you think Fred's gonna leave, it might have been a decent risk, but I don't know. Ali's in the chat. He's rubbing.
Oh, and
it
shout
in.
out before you say too. Leafs Digest said Thursday. We got to wait a little bit. Thursday, May 20th, 7 p.m. is when the Leafs play. So
shout out to Leafs Digest. Big stuff happening over there. But Ali's roasting me for my fantasy league. I was 14-1 in all the weeks, and I
lose in the first round.
No, it's a championship. It's a championship, so it is what it is.
By a lot, or
yeah, I got smoked. But
oh no,
Bradley Beal, he was barely playing. Ingram wasn't playing. All these guys were just chilling. Kawhi was in and out. They were all just kind of resting. I had a bunch of resty players. It is what it is. But
OJ Brissett.
Ooh.
Did you see him almost poster and then Holiday almost poster?
Yeah. He did a weird 360 thing. Malachi Flynn's just chucking. He's pulling up, dribbling these threes. But yeah, people are not about Victor Oladipo. Not a fan. And then they're bringing up Blinky's bringing up Kristaps is always hurt. Stinky Pinky. Kristaps Porzingis. I still say bring him home. Bring him
Oh
home.
man, he would be unlocked here on the Toronto Raptors.
Yeah,
Unlocked.
yeah. Brandon Toll, same thing happened in his fantasy league. We just got a little somber on the podcast for no reason. But
We're just both feeling crushed by your fantasy playoff loss. It might be a good time to check back into the game, see what's happening there. I have it on. My line of vision is just slightly above where my camera is, so I feel like it's awkward, at least for me to watch myself, like with my eyeballs looking up slightly above the camera. But
yeah,
haven't been paying a lot of attention to this one. I see O'Shea Brissett on the line, missed one, hit the second one. Obviously, if you're just tuning in, if you haven't seen any of the Raptors game, they're only playing 6 guys. Everybody else is injured right now, mostly injured, maybe a little bit of resting, and 6-man rotation with 3 bigs: Aaron Baines, Birch, and Gillespie. It's it's not the most spectacular game to behold. We thought that maybe they'd go with a bang. The unfortunate part, this could be Lowry's last time as suited up as a Raptor, and he didn't even play this one, Ben.
decided not to pull through. Disappointing, but it is what it is. It is what it is. The Raptors, they're tanking this season. They're tanking even when they don't have to tank. So that's the unfortunate world that we live in. Playing the kazoos on the way out. May as well, just to stick it in the face of Tampa and the NBA. People are asking if Andrew Gray's bringing up, will the Sixers trade Simmons or Embiid if they flop in the playoffs? And if so, would you like one of them?
Oh, sorry, Embiid.
Simmons and Embiid?
Well, they're not going to trade Joel Embiid. That is their cornerstone player, right? Ben Simmons is this curious case where his best stat line in every single category was in his rookie season. So he's never improved from his rookie year, which is insane. Maybe his leadership potentially, you could say, has improved, but this is a crucial season for them, obviously. Brent Brown, is he still their coach? He is, right?
No, Doc Rivers.
Oh, yeah. So you're right. So yeah, they moved on from Brent Brown last year, and obviously Doc Rivers, he comes with his own sort of history of choking in the playoffs. So my point still holds, or my overall point, that this is an important playoff season for the Philadelphia 76ers, but you could say the exact same thing about the Milwaukee Bucks. And you could make an argument, I guess, for the Nets, but not so much, because that's a brand new team. It's kind of expected they'll win, but also I wouldn't be surprised if the chemistry isn't there yet. But the Bucks and the 76ers, man, there's no excuse for either of those teams, but they both can't make it out, so one of them is going to be disappointed.
Yep, certainly. Aaron Baines just hit a bucket, so I played the pylon animation, but the East is going to be going crazy this year. Certainly going to be a lot to break down. Paul Poitier is asking if Leonard would come back if the Clippers lose. I don't think so. I'd see him going to the Knicks if he's going anywhere, but that's Kawhi talk. We won't dive into too much of that. Kevin Ian D is saying he's going to start the Blue Jays Digest soon. If you want to start it, hit us up.
Reach out to us.
Reach out to us. We're expanding the brand.
Yep.
That's the way. Courtside Digest is on the way. Probably have some new people in here now. Riker, we're gonna be breaking down all NBA topics now. The Raptors are pretty well out, so you check out Courtside Digest. It's in our channel link. So definitely see that. Daryl Morey might want to build around Ben Simmons. That's an interesting take, but I don't really think it's gonna occur. Oh, you got the logo. I don't have it pulled up. It's pretty fire looking logo. That's all I have to say.
Do I have it on the screen?
Yeah, you got it.
Nice.
Got the man there.
That's the teaser. That's the teaser. But
anyways,
little
teaser. You can give us a little peek on the YouTube, on the IG. Some fun stuff there. Raptors are in commercial break. Michael Edmonds saying fill in the blank. This year for the Raptors was a blank. What do you say it is, Riker?
It was a... It was...
Said with an E.
It was an experience. It was a opportunity to improve without having to implode the core roster, right? End of the day, people might be upset.
Yep.
The Raptors weren't able to make a push for the play-in tournament, but again, core unit is intact.
Yep.
Team is not going to change, and now you have a 7.5% chance to get the number 1 pick in this upcoming NBA draft. You're going to probably get a top 10 pick irregardless, and there's maybe some guys that could come in and be impact players right away. Not in the starting lineup, but could be good rotation pieces off the bench. And, right, to be able to do that and not have to actually be terrible, right? That doesn't happen. You don't get that chance very often. So it's not terrible.
Yeah. No, for sure. That's a good thing about this year. We were gifted an optimal season to tank. And we took it. We took it without having to blow up the roster. We did lose Norman Powell. We probably are going to lose Kyle Lowry, but it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. I keep saying that, but it has been. It's the year. P. King saying next year bench mob Flynn, GTJ, Harris Johnson, Boucher, and
Gary
Gillespie.
Trent Jr.
Yeah. Do you think? I think Gary Trent. No way he comes off the bench next season.
If he does, I'm ready to jump ship on Nick Nurse, because that would just be the absolute worst misuse of that man. He was not good off the bench. He was amazing out of the starting lineup. He is by far a better defender, and we just have become so accustomed to playing our backcourt being 2 6-footers. Put a guy who's 6'5" out there, have a way better defensive lineup, a guy that can come out and be instant offense. Makes way more sense to have him in the starting unit.
Yep. No, 1,000%. Dropser Popper? Are you ready for Cade or Mobley, Riker? Are you ready?
Yeah. Okay. First pick of the draft, you're picking Cade. You're picking the best player. Yeah. Right?
For sure.
Yeah.
But Mobley would be cool.
Yeah. But you're picking Cade if you have number 1 pick.
What about Josh Giddey? Everyone wants Josh Giddey in the chat.
What is his projected? I gotta check this out.
I'm assuming he's top 4. He's a 6'8" point guard. He's moving around. You know, people are breaking down the roster, the lineup next season. Assuming nothing big happens, it's gonna be Fred, GTJ, Gary Trent Jr., OG, Siakam, and Birch. That's the starting unit, assuming things don't get crazy and Lowry goes. That's the direction. Yeah, it's validation seems to be what the chat is saying, but ideally we get a stronger center. We get more people, more guys. Something happening.
Wow. Okay, Giddey. Do you know anything about him?
6'8" point guard, right?
Not at all what I was expecting. Yeah. 18-year-old, 6'8" point guard, white guy, plays in Australia on the Adelaide 36ers. And
36ers.
Yeah. This is the NBA synopsis on him. Gifted playmaker, can do a bit of everything on the offensive end. Pick and roll maestro, and a flashy passer on the open court. Maybe get some of that LaMelo ball. And
Ben Rogers.
You're speaking right to Ben. Making every player around him better. Well, we certainly need that for Pascal Siakam in particular. An intelligent decision maker, confident floor general. Wow, they're speaking this guy up. Streaky shooter. That's concerning. Lacks burst, so he lacks that quick first step, and lacks athleticism, failing to create separation off the bounce. Yet a sound defender with a nose for the ball. I'd have to pass on that one, Ben. I'd have to pass on that one.
Really?
Because, yeah. No quick first step, no athleticism, and you're questioning his defense and his shooting. So really all that he has is playmaking, and you could make the same arguments for Malachi Flynn's playmaking abilities. Obviously, 8 inches less, so he is not able to see over those pick and rolls as easily, but I think you need athleticism, and you at least need a 3-point shot for a guard on the Toronto Raptors, just the way that we structure our offense.
Do you know who was a 6'8", 6'9" point guard that had their athleticism question and their defense question coming in?
And they're shooting? LaMelo Ball?
Well, LaMelo Ball, Luka Doncic, Ben Simmons. I guess his defense wasn't questioned, but the shooting was certainly questioned.
Yeah, fair.
I don't know.
Fair.
That's a guy I'm interested in.
Fair.
Definitely
I
at
just
4.
look, but maybe he'd be more like Michael Carter Williams or something.
But he didn't have the passing. He was just raw.
No, he didn't.
Michael Carter Williams was.
He probably came in on athleticism.
He came in on that guy is long and he can dribble a little bit. So that's Peking saying he's Adam Morrison in his first year. He was good. Adam Morrison was great in his first year before he dealt with all those injuries. I do have a little Adam Morrison what's it called? Figurine. Found it for cheap at a what are they called? Cheap stores in Orlando.
Thrift store.
And so they're selling these little figurines. I got Adam Morrison on the Bobcats with the long wavy hair. Little figurine of Adam Morrison. It's in my room.
There you go. Yeah. I don't know. I get worried in a league that's becoming quicker, more fast-paced, more transition-based, small ball lineups. You really need to be able to hold your own on the defensive end, and you need to be able to create offense off of the step. You need to be shifty. I mean, basically everybody has like a 40-inch vertical nowadays in the NBA, and shiftiness is a virtue. I don't know. I would be a little bit concerned, but again, you're right. Playmaking, you can develop the shot. If Pascal Siakam can go from 14% 3-point shooter, there's hope for anyone, it seems.
Yeah. No, that's a culture. But the Raptors, third quarter, O'Shea Brissett is absolutely dominating his former team. The Raptors are tanking, even though they don't need to in this game, but that's just what you got to do sometimes, you know? Trying to get this tanking animation. There we go. But Michael Edmonds
That's crazy.
saying you collect figurines. Do you Dungeons and Dragons, I assume? With NBA players? No, I just have that
D&D?
one. I think that's what that is it?
Is that what he said, D&D?
Yeah.
Was it a super chat or just a normal chat?
No, just a regular chat. Super chats.
My roommate in Ontario, he D&Ds with some of his friends.
Mm-hmm.
They're all kind of nerds, but they're lovable nerds. They go out and do stuff too. They have a social life. They're not shut-ins. And I sort of watched out of the corner of my eye them playing a D&D session, which I thought was more of a board game. I had the impression that you basically create this kind of like board game type thing. You create like little houses and stuff and like have this map, and then you have like little figurines, and then you just play the game in your mind. But apparently it's evolved that a lot of it is like on a computer, the map is generated, and then you click it's basically more like a computer game. And I thought that defeated the point. I thought D&D was meant to like be creative, use your brain power, your imagination. So I clearly have no idea what Dungeons and Dragons is even about, except for the title.
Yeah, I'm happy I knew what D&D was. I know my nerd game, it's chess. Try to, grade 3 was my prime in chess. I was like ranked 20th in Canada for what are they? You're 7-year-olds at that age, so that was my peak. But now I'm still all right on chess.com.
Oh yeah, and you were playing chess before you watched Anya Taylor-Joy absolutely steam up the screen on what was that called? The Queen's Gambit.
Queen's Gambit, yeah.
I'm sure she convinced lots of the younger male audience to be at least interested in chess.
No, good show, quality show there.
It actually was good show. Really
it's a quality show. Bringing people to drugs and chess. What is it? Medicated drugs or whatever she took and chess. That's that there. But Ben Shomian, let's make it a take we brought up earlier. Sad we never got a good goodbye game from Kyle. And honestly, the goodbye game was the game before the trade deadline. That's when that we were quite sad. Then we came to terms with it. We thought we were getting Tyler Hero, and then we just didn't get anyone.
Well, see, the offer was on the board, was it not? That for a package that included Duncan Robinson, and then obviously they realized what Lowry's market value was. When you have 15 teams that are supposedly putting in a bid for Norman Powell, and then you trade him away basically straight up for Gary Trent Jr. and Hood, who didn't really play very much this season. I feel like that made the Heat realize, hey, there's only two suitors, us and 76ers, and if that's what they accepted for Norman Powell, then we'll offer them that package that they ultimately traded Oladipo for. So It's disappointing the way it played out.
Yeah. No, for sure. And that was a brutal. That's like a. I guess Kelly Olynyk's been good, but it's
Yeah,
just
but
sad.
he's been
Just
good,
sad.
but temporarily.
Yep.
Kelly Olynyk, can we both agree that he's not going to continue to be that well? Like, that's not his new sort of career benchmark.
You never know.
That he's
You
going to
never
be
know.
25 point per game
People
guy.
want. I wouldn't mind bringing him in, test him out as the starting center if he's the. I wouldn't be sad if he was our big center pickup this offseason. Obviously, you'd ideally get someone that's a little bit of a stronger defender, but I don't know. It's he's putting up better numbers than Anthony Davis, Riker. That's my take right there. Shooter, passer, used to play point guard, Canadian. I don't know. I'd like to see Olynyk brought in on the Toronto Raptors.
Olynyk brought in on the Toronto Raptors. You know, we both would have laughed at that. We considered it, actually. We considered, is this a guy that you would actually maybe look to bring in? Maybe
In the buyout market.
Yeah, and the answer was no.
He was not bought out. That is
But listen, we would have been equally as disappointed in bringing him in if he played as well as he did, because the Raptors might have won a game or two to end the season, and wouldn't have wanted that.
yeah. No, the Raptors need to get a good we need to get a good draft pick this year. If we fall down in the draft this year, that would be the most unfortunate thing on the planet. But the 7th pick has had good luck in recent years, so maybe it's possible the Raptors pull out. Watching this game now, still only rocking 6 guys. Very interesting lineups out there on the floor. What's the point in only playing 6 guys in this game, Riker?
And there's no one else. There's no one else to play. There's no one else to step up. The 905 season ended long ago, and I guess you don't have the opportunity to call anyone else up.
That's fair. People are talking about Kelly Olynyk, tiebreaker Hornets or Pacers. I'm not sure. Danny's in the chat. Ben and Riker. I wonder if this is Kyle Lowry's last game with the Toronto Raptors. Danny, the last game was 2 weeks ago. What are you saying?
Yeah, you were right. He really balled out. In his probable final last game as a Toronto Raptor, suited up, playing minutes, 37 points, 11 assists against the Los Angeles Lakers. Was it still a loss, though? It was, wasn't it?
No, we beat the Lakers.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so, I don't know. I guess it's a good way to go out, but just unfortunate when we didn't know that at the time.
You wanted to send him off. It was funny, too, though, when we were playing that final game before the trade deadline happened, and we thought that might be his last game as a Toronto Raptor. I don't know what the mood was. We were sort of thinking that he might get traded, and we weren't feeling too bad about it, but now, obviously, he might go out and not even get traded, might just leave in the off season. It's much more disappointing. It's much, it ended with a fizzle rather than a bang, and that's not what you want for who is really the Raptors GOAT. No debate, no cap. I'll open it up if anybody in the comment section wants to debate it, but he's the Raptors GOAT, not Kawhi, not Vince, because he comes in and immediately brings this absolute gutter team into the playoff picture. Obviously, DeMar played a big role in being that 1-2 sort of tandem, but Lowry was the leader of the team. 8 seasons straight of making the playoffs, 8 seasons straight of making the playoffs, and a championship, and he's first and second in almost every stat category. He's the GOAT, Ben.
Certainly the GOAT. But, who knows if he stays, who knows if he leaves. What contract would you be comfortable bringing him back at? 10?
10.
10? I'd be cool with
12.
15. Yeah. 15 would be my...
15 is a stretch for me.
Yeah, have him off the bench. Rock it out with Trent as a starter. Maybe even, I guess you can't bring Fred off the bench at this point in his career. But, I don't know.
It's too bad. We really wanted to re-sign Fred. We wanted to re-sign Pascal Siakam, and now we're saying, well, people want to part ways with Siakam every now and then when he has a bad game. We're also saying that Fred VanVleet, he might not even be really up to snuff in terms of what we need from a starting point guard on a championship contending team. It's pretty tough, the situation that the Raptors have backed themselves into, but I'm confident. I'm willing to put my professional pride and ego on the line to say, in a regular season with regular fans and this current roster with a couple of tweaks and not playing Fred VanVleet and Lowry at the same time, this could be a dangerous team in the East then.
Oh, I'm confident. I think we could have been this year too if we had our Tampa guys. We're in Toronto. If we had a bit of health, a bit of luck, but unfortunately it was a messy year. The Raptors were fourth at one point before they went down with health and safety protocols, despite all of the adversity. So I'm still confident in this group of guys, this core. Masai Ujiri is being talked about in the chat right now. Think he's going to come back, Riker?
I don't know. I don't know what the deal is there, Ben. Do you have any intel on that?
Apparently the negotiations start up immediately next week. So that's all we really know. Obviously you'd ideally have that extension. I believe there was mild talks earlier in the year and they just said, okay, we'll move it to the end of last season. Probably not the best of signs. The NBA Africa League is beginning now. There's rumors he might go down and be commissioner of that league. That's just pure speculation at this point. Obviously the Wizards, their name has been attached to Masai Ujiri forever. And if the Raptors don't want to pay him, then he's going to get ownership somewhere, I believe. He turned the Raptors into a championship team.
Danny's making the counter argument here. He seems to be getting extremely passionate. If we lose Lowry, Kawhi, Serge, Marc Gasol, Danny Green, all for nothing, Masai must answer for it. So he wouldn't even want that fella to re-sign if Lowry walks for nothing. And that's true. I mean, those 5 guys mentioned, 4 of them were the four of the best 6 players on that championship run. Siakam and Fred VanVleet were integral to that run as well. But it was Kawhi number 1 for sure. And honestly, Serge Ibaka probably like number 2 or 3.
Definitely in the Sixers series.
Yep. Yeah, and then Marc Gasol was the defensive anchor of it all. And so you wouldn't have had that run without Marc Gasol. You know, put Jonas Valanciunas on that team, probably wouldn't have had the championship. They wouldn't have had that defensive grit or that playmaking from the center position. So he's absolutely right. Danny he hit the nail on the head there. You want to get something back for these guys. But that's it. You made a deal with the devil. You trade away DeMar DeRozan behind his back without him having any forewarning about it. He felt like it was, and I think everybody kind of agreed. It was pretty devastating that that's the way it had to go down. It resulted in a championship. We had that one season of euphoria and bliss, and maybe that's the repercussions, is now you have to suffer for a couple of years.
Championship, it's like heroin. You just have a horrible down after. Get weird with these analogies.
We're going to move right along.
The Raptors, this game is just... It's a sad way to end the year. Someone brought it up in the chats earlier that the Raptors, the squad, their main guys always have bitter endings. DeMar DeRozan obviously he was thrown out in a game against the Cleveland Cavaliers, right? He dipped. He was traded, thrown out, double technicals. Vince Carter obviously demanded a trade. Kawhi left us high and dry. I guess he won the championship, which is a positive, but Chris Bosh left for South Beach. Think Kyle Lowry is going to leave for South Beach, Riker?
Here's the thing. I wouldn't care if he left. It's just, you are right. You'd rather sign and trade for him. At least get something back, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, I don't know. Because I see where the Raptors are coming from, saying, oh, you don't want to set the precedent where, if we hold up out on the Raptors and they can get finessed, right? You don't want to set that tone, make that your reputation across the league. That's why you hold on to Kyle Lowry. But then there's also the case where you let him walk for nothing just to uphold that reputation, which is another situation where I get I get both sides of that argument, but to have the Raptors leave when you could have traded him and you only played him 9 games. You didn't even play him in the final game of the year that we did a live stream for. We wanted to react to it, but it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate how everything played out.
Yeah. That's true. I had a point that I wanted to say, but then I got a text and I looked at the TV and I just got really confused with all of the media that was coming at me at once. Yes, reacting to Kyle Lowry, that would have been ideal, or just any of the guys, right? Except for Ken Burch and Freddie Gillespie, there was nobody else that I really, that you want to watch. You don't care if you're watching Stanley Johnson's final game as a Toronto Raptor, or Bembry or Aaron Baines, really. Aaron Baines a little bit. He's been interesting. He's been a character.
Yep. He's been It feels weird because none of these guys you'd look at and say, "Oh, they're Toronto Raptors."
No.
No one on the court right now. They're just cool.
We need Drake. We need Drake back. We need Drake to drop Certified Lover Boy, and then we need the Raptors to return so he can focus on being the Raptors hype man again.
When's Certified Lover Boy coming out? It's supposed to come out in January.
Yeah. And then I thought it was supposed to come out all of May, and now all of April, and I think.
Yeah, at some point in April.
Did you watch? Did you listen to the Z Looks Jamaican on Kodak when I sent it to you?
That was so good. That was so good.
That line. Oh, it's so funny.
I was in bed. I was just listening, about to go to bed. I was like, "Oh, this is a little banger." And then
Yep. And there's another one too in that album. It's called "In the Basement" or something. Something with basement is in the line. I don't know. Kodak Black. He's not for everyone. I like him because I like Skirt and Patty Cake. There's a couple of bangers and a couple of he has like some of those pop rap like upbeat, and then he has like some trap. He's been rapping since he was like 8 years old. But I don't mind Young Kodak, and this newest album, it's more of an EP. It's worth a listen.
Yeah, no, I definitely gotta check it out. Though the one thing I'm disappointed about though is Silk Sonic. We got teased. They said they were making their album, then they dropped that.
I thought they'd drop a single every week or two.
They dropped an absolute banger, leave the door open, and then they just disappear. No promo, no nothing. I don't know. It's I'm sad about that. Anderson .Paak is my guy. Anderson .Paak. He's my dude. He's my number one. Drake is also up there, but I want to see that album, hear that album immediately. But the Wards Report is asking who you guys cheering for in the playoffs. Who's your number one team? Is it the Knicks, Ryker?
Right now?
Yeah, in the playoffs.
For the playoffs? It's tough because the Knicks are probably not going to make it past the second round. So you don't want to be getting your hopes up too high and trying to root for the Knicks, right? I think more realistically, I'd probably still cheer for Denver, even though Jamal Murray's out. He'd be the real driver behind why I'd support that team. But yeah, I like Denver. I really am interested to watch Portland now. I want the best for Norman Powell. And who else? In the East, I don't really have any.
Mavericks, bro. Mavies.
I know you're a fan of the Mavericks, but not in the way that I'm a fan of the Mavericks. Trying to go back to live here. Oh, there it is.
You're getting that TV. Us youngins don't know how to use cable.
We don't.
Man. But, Wow Dude 1, Scratch tutorials, saying hello, Ryker and Ben. Hello. Getting, reacting to the chats. Drops Poppers asking, is there draft content coming? There's all of the content coming. Drops Popper.
I'm excited for us to go live on the draft pick.
Yep,
like just the actual. We are gonna get so hyped, regardless of whatever the pick is.
Yeah, but we'll be very sad if we don't get a top 4 pick. That's for sure.
Nah, we'll be hyped for anything, dude. The Raptors, they've been able to do wonders with 20th pick,
that's true, second
round pick, non-drafted players. Anything in the top 10, I think that they can turn into something special.
That's very true. But if we fall back, if we regress in the draft, it'll just be a disappointing situation. Bueno Kitty's shouting out courtside, go Blazers. I don't know. But deep down, we're all Lakers fans. So that's just how it works.
Nope.
Deep down, we're all rooting for LeBron to win his rings and get ahead of Michael Jordan.
Nope.
You're
no, definitely not.
You're not a fan of
We don't need to uncan this can of worms, Ben, but you know my stance on Michael Jordan versus LeBron James.
I don't know your stance.
Yeah, you do. I think that LeBron is better. Michael Jordan is greater.
Yeah. We've defined these words on the podcast before. But you know what?
Yeah, didn't you? But
yeah,
you think the same for now, but you want LeBron to be greater.
I think he's greater, but I guess greater is what more people think. So I don't know. I just like LeBron a lot more. I like my GOAT is a passer. My GOAT is a guy that throws no look passes.
To be fair, actually, after having watched The Last Dance, Michael Jordan's personality would have been hard to actually like him as an individual. Whereas I feel like if you met LeBron James in real life, you would actually walk away being like, wow, that's a genuine nice guy right there. Like that's somebody that he's just a kind-hearted person. Whereas you probably walk away after encountering Michael Jordan being like, wow, that guy was an arrogant, not nice person.
Not nice person. Oh, I see the Tampa jerseys. You see the Tampa jerseys?
I'm way ahead now. I got all messed up. I was flicking around and I got
it's all good. The Raptors down by 14 with 3 minutes to go. But I saw those Tampa jerseys. They're rocking it. It's an air guitar cam on the stream right now. So
is it?
Yeah. That's the one thing I like about the streams. Much better than cable.
Yeah. Whatever happened with our video? People were saying it at some point. We accidentally ran Raph by ASAP Mob and Lil Uzi.
What
Frank
happened
Ocean. To it? Yeah, did it get taken down?
No, it's still up. It's still up. It's still up. We got demonetized. We lost all of our money, but it is what it is. It was worth it for the meme. But people are saying sell the pick. Am I getting an earned jersey? An earned Aaron Baines jersey coming this way just for memories of that 2021 season. Are we playing any actual starters? AM has missed the game. We are not playing anyone. We have ran 6 players and ran a lineup with 3 centers in 2021. How wild is that? But Malachi Flynn, Bembry, Johnson. Man, it'd be nice to have O'Shea Brissett on the squad.
Yep. We're playing out the final 3.5 minutes of this one, Ben. Final 3.5 minutes of this entire season. The Raptors with an atrocious record. It's interesting. It's not where you expect it to be. It's a far cry from second seed, which you had said a bunch of times leading into the season starting, and then you were still pretty confident there.
I doubled down.
Yeah, at the 25% through the season mark. Obviously, you couldn't have predicted the impact of people out due to illness and out due to health and safety protocols, and then the extensive list of injured players that happened this season, and then also obviously the impact of having a hostile crowd when they did open up that couple of fans that came into Tampa, which was absurd. That's still, I'm not going to get over that, just at how poorly the home team was treated. But that's it. I think all is well that ends well, and it's not a positive ending, but I think people are they're gonna feel better when we get that number 1 draft pick, man.
Exactly. When it's a guaranteed number 1 pick, that's where we need to be. People are roasting my take. People are saying MJ's the GOAT, and honestly, I'd take Kawhi over MJ.
Paul Potier is saying Jordan is the best ever.
No.
You look at stats.
Jokes aside.
Best is stats. Best is tangible, concrete stats. And in every category, LeBron is better. Yeah. That's a fact. You just pull up the stat. He's literally he's top in the league of all time in points. He's ahead in all time in points, above Jordan, assists, rebounds, steals, every single category, playoff tenure. He's the best player of all time. That's just a fact. But
greatness that's where you can compare eras to, right? Because best player, you can be like, oh, well, they didn't have the technology, they didn't have the stats. MJ would have shot more threes, this, that, whatever. Fair enough. That's where you get but greatness, and overall, MJ is greater because he has the rings, the impact off the court in terms of Jordan brand and just notoriety, and whoever the most people think is the best, that's usually who's the greatest. So,
yeah.
But if
now
LeBron
the
gets
one point
rings,
that if he gets another ring, the one point that I'm willing to concede is longevity, because Michael Jordan's career did not nearly last. I mean, LeBron from start to now. Yeah, from LeBron's start to now, he has been in the MVP top 3 consideration every single year of his entire 16-season career. It is crazy, this man's longevity and his youthfulness. If you put $2 million into your body a year, then you'd hope you get that, but it's unheard of. It's unprecedented in any sports league, so it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, no, for sure. We got people. Nova's bringing up. He was at the OG Raptors game, so I guess he's more watched that era more than us. But I'm on the take that the league is way better now. That's my take. Sure, you're allowed to harder foul back then, hand check, but the defensive schemes, players are more athletic. You're allowed to run zone defenses now. I know it's a hot take, controversial, but I don't know. I'm a bigger fan of the league right now. And I think it's tougher to play in.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough because everybody gets better with the league
Yep.
as it goes, right? And you think the rims haven't raised.
Yep.
They haven't got any taller. And you look at historical clips, right, of the big dunkers over time, the Michael Jordans and the Wilkinsons, Dominique Wilkinses, and all of the big high flyers, right? They have their heads above the rim as well. So they were just as athletic, I think, but on average, the athletic player, you only have a couple per team, whereas now your entire team needs to be athletic basically as a minimum criteria. And that is a big marquee difference. I would absolutely agree. Pace of play, the amount of scoring. The one counter argument I would give to you, Ben, is I hate games that don't provide any defense. So when you see 142 to 138 final box score, that's too much to me.
It's not the defense. It's just players. The floor is more spaced. You can't guard all these guys. The players are more skilled, so you can shoot more, right? The more space that the court is, the easier it is to score. So that's.
But think too, like that's why they had to change the absolute complete structure of the All-Star game, because the players, well, they weren't really trying on defense, but the offense, when you have the best offensive players, they're better than the best defensive players, right? So it's like they can't be stopped unless they just miss due to human error.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it'd be more interesting at times if the league was more defensive, but it is what it is.
Well, players had roles back then. Like, you just have guys that were out there for defense, and then now everyone's out there just shucking threes, being a scorer, doing all these things. But I don't know, Riker. 30 seconds left in this season. Any takes? Any takes before we end it off here with this season? Any predictions? Any predictions for the rest of this year?
I'll tell you, Ben, I'm excited to be finally wrapped up with the Raptors' regular season post-game reactions. They were getting to be a real chore to keep the energy high, to stay up so late, and just keep reporting on the losses. It's time. It's time to have this one all wrapped up and prepare for next season. Prepare for this off season, then.
10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That could have been the final alarm, honestly. Get the RAF going. But congratulations, Toronto Raptors. We officially played the Kazoos. The suffering is over. The Kazoos have been brought out. The team can get out of Tampa, at least for now. This might be the last time we see Lowry on the bench. A lot of these guys play, so I appreciate the effort that they put in. I don't think it's due in part to any of the players, but I'm happy this season is done, Riker.
Yep, that's an understatement, Ben. Are we giving a recap to the game as well, or was our recap amply provided during this live watch along?
I think this watch along settles it. We've been on live. How long now?
2.5 hours?
Yeah,
More?
roughly about 2 hours. So
2 hours. You were right. You called it at the beginning because we started at 2:45 Newfoundland time.
Yep.
It's exactly 2 hour mark starting right now.
So the Raptors flew through it, but everyone in the chat, we appreciate you guys. Stuck it out, watching this season, checking out the channel. As we brought up, we're bringing in our new All-NBA channel, launching probably tomorrow. Courtside Digest, right? All-NBA coverage. The Raptors, they're probably going to be in the lack of news category for the next while. We'll be back, obviously. We're not leaving Raptors Digest by any means. Any news that pops up surrounding the Raptors, we will cover, but we don't expect much to happen over the next couple months. But a lot will happen across the NBA, so that will all get covered at Courtside Digest. Check it out. Riker, the Raptors are leaving their squad. Someone gave O'Shea Brissett their jersey, their Raptors jersey, so
Oh, nice.
He probably has a few of them at home anyways, so I don't know why he's getting one of the boys, but
31 and 10, over 60% from the field. Not a bad stat line. 62.5% clean from both field goal and 3-point. It's a big game. That's a big way to end the season for one O'Shea Brissett. Good job for you, sir.
Good job to O'Shea. Good job to the squad. Definitely just a tough season. Tough season. We've said this enough. The recap is just O'Shea Brissett, 31 points, 5 threes, quality game. But the Raptors, lots of stuff we're going to be talking about in this offseason going forward. So stay subscribed to the channel. Again, check out Courtside Digest. I don't know if we need to go much longer here. You guys are the best for making this far. Check out the Twitter, the Instagram, all that cool stuff. RaptorsDigest.ca, the TikTok, and Courtside Digest on YouTube and those platforms. Also give Leafs Digest a little plug. They're making the playoffs now. We might have less videos on the Raptors Digest currently, so gotta plug our Leafs boys over there. But we appreciate it.
Thursday. It's gonna be big on the Leafs Digest side of things.
Bit of hockey cooking. So, Ryker, do you have any last words on the 2021 NBA season?
Oh, what a journey. It's been an experience. And who helped us get through this crazy season is everybody in the comment section. Just keeping it fun, keeping it lighthearted. We were getting roasted a little bit, but then people came away from the roasts and just joined into the collaborative fun of the season. And and we didn't get too dejected. Spirits stayed relatively high in sort of a meme way. So thanks to everyone for sticking along with us. I'm sure next season will be better. And as Ben said, stay tuned to NBA content. Pop over to the Courtside Digest, and we'll keep this party going. So cheers.
Keep the balloons going. Get that rocking one last time. Get the balloons out here to finish it off. But yeah, as Ryker said, you guys are the best. We signing out.